So you want to land a job in the animation industry. Well, here's what you have to do. The first and the most important thing you need to land a job as an animator is a demo reel. If you don't have a demo reel, there's no way you're getting a job, unless of course your uncle owns the studio. And with that said, you want to make sure a demo reel looks up to par and looks professional. You want your demo reel to be visually appealing. Now, I know some people say that the looks don't matter, it's the animation, but the people watching your demo reel and judging your demo reel, yes, they're looking at the animation, but those people are people. If your shot looks ugly and it makes them want to click away and isn't capturing their attention, they're less likely to have a positive reaction to it. So even though your animation needs to be amazing, I'd say your lighting and the look of the shot also needs to look amazing. So you want to make sure the lighting is good, the composition is good. If you can't do proper lighting and renders, make sure the play blast at least has nice lighting. You also want to make sure you have a nice title card and a nice end card. The first 10 seconds of a demo reel is absolutely crucial because that's when the person watching it decides if they want to continue watching it or they're gonna put it in the no pile and not look at the rest of it. So the first 10 seconds, you need to grab their attention. You need to have your absolute best shot in there and have a very short and good looking title card. If not good looking, have it be simple and fast and get right into the reel with your best shot. You also want to have your best work in your reel. Yes, it's self-explanatory, but you have no idea how many people feel insecure about the length of their demo reel, and so they start adding all these shots that aren't their best. It's way better to have a fantastic under a minute short demo reel than a 2-minute shitty or mediocre demo reel. Way better. You make sure if it's under a minute, don't worry if it's your best work. Don't start putting mediocre work in there just to make the demo reel longer. That doesn't matter. What matters is what's the best work you can do, because a demo reel is kind of like a chain. The weakest point of the link is the strength of the chain. So if you start putting your mediocre work, they'll think, oh, they just got lucky with the shot and this is what their work is going to look like, the mediocre one. So your worst shot is going to be the one that they're going to judge your skill on. So you don't want to have any bad shots in there. No distracting music. You don't want to have music blasting, even if it's your favorite song. You don't want to be blasting music throughout the demo reel. Even if it has no music, it's better than having loud music or obnoxious music. In most cases, people reviewing your reel are watching it in mute unless there's lip sync happening. So it's better to just have some very non-disruptive, low volume music if you're gonna have any. Your information. You wanna have a title card in the beginning and an end card at the end with your name on it, the position you're applying for, and an email that they can reach you at. The last point of the demo reel we're gonna talk about is to show variety in what you can do. Don't only have one type of shot in your entire reel. So don't only have just action shots and like big body mechanic shots or only just subtle acting. You want to show them that you're a versatile animator. Research and network. Right here is an Excel sheet with updated available animation jobs constantly posted. So you can come here, see what positions suit you and apply accordingly. Of course, I'll have the link in the description for that, so don't worry. Something you should be doing is constantly updating your LinkedIn, posting your work on LinkedIn. You can add recruiters and let them know that you're interested in the position and you send them your reel. And that's one way to really get in touch with a person that could hire you very easily. You just look up the studio that you want to work at, see who the recruiters are, and send a nice message and your interest and your demo reel to the recruiter. You can also add animators on LinkedIn. Now, this is not like a Facebook friendship where you feel awkward adding someone you don't know. It's a business transaction almost, right? It's a business platform. You're there to make connections. So you can add an animator whose work you admire and you can ask them a question if you have, or you can ask who they recommend getting in touch with if you're looking to work at the studio they're working at. Now, if you're gonna ask them a question, make sure to keep it short and not send, paragraphs upon paragraphs, because you want to be respectful of their time. Another thing you can do to network is physically go to expos and job fairs. In most of these expos and job fairs, you can actually show your work and have your demo reel be reviewed. Usually they have a portfolio review section where you can just submit your demo reel or portfolio, and they will review it for you. Sometimes there's even studios set up booths there that are looking to hire people. I actually have a personal story about how I landed my very first job. Once I graduated from Sheridan, we had this thing called Industry Day where we show our work, what we've made throughout the year, and there I started talking with a recruiter from a studio. They seemed interested in my work, but nothing really happened. They just suggested that I apply to the studio. But what's funny is that the following day there was an event happening, an animation event in Toronto, and I decided to go. There I met the same recruiter and we got into conversation again, and again she said, oh, you should actually apply and I'll take a look at it tomorrow. And so I did. I applied. The following day she looked at my reel and I got an interview 3 days after graduating. So you just make connections. You go to these events and you make connections, and they get familiar with your name and they can put a face to the work, and you'll have a lot easier time getting into the industry. Very quick interjection, we actually have our final sale of the year happening right now at Animate during this Black Friday. So if you're looking to make a kick-ass demo reel and take our Ultimate Blender animation course, this is the time to do it. This is the cheapest it's ever gonna get with this sale, especially because we're increasing our prices this coming new year. So don't miss your chance. Click that card right there for more information on Animate and our courses, and let's jump back right into the video. Now, to prepare for the interview, do your research. Don't go in blind. You don't want to be confused and not know what they're talking about. Research the company, research what projects they're working on, even watch a couple of episodes of things they produce so that you have an easier time communicating with them and relating to what they're saying. If they ask you a question about a show they've made and you're like, I don't know what that is, it's not going to end too well. Prepare some questions for them. This shows that you're interested. This will usually come at the end, but these could be questions you need to know, like work from home versus in studio, or if they provide equipment for work from home, how long will the project last, what stage of production are they in, what is the weekly quota, what's the style of the show, and etc. You really need to know what you're getting yourself into, and these questions will help you figure that out. Prepare for their questions. You prepared your questions, but majority of the interview is going to be them asking you questions. Now, an animation interview isn't necessarily a corporate event, and it's not going to be corporate questions being asked of you. It's usually a lot more chill. So you don't want to go in there with a suit and a tie. You're going to stand out. And in terms of the questions you got to prepare for, it's probably going to be something more like this. What was your most challenging shot and how did you tackle it? Can you give us some instances of an issue you had when working in a group environment and how did you tackle it? What do you enjoy animating? What are your weaknesses in animation? So prepare for those kind of questions when you're going into the interview. Salary. Now, salary will probably not be mentioned at this point into the interview, but it's good to prepare for it because it has happened to me sometimes. Usually the discussion for salary happens after the interview with the HR team, not the animation team. But I've had interviews where the recruiter was in the room with the animation team and the topic of salary had come up. You want to do your research. So go look online, see what the salary range is for your position that you're applying for and interviewing for, and for your experience level. You want to make sure you know the range. Now, once the question comes up, you could bounce it back at them. And if they say, what's your salary expectation? You can say, oh, what's the salary range for this position and my experience level? And once you ask that, they'll either give you a salary range, which then you can pick from, or they'll say, well, we'd like to hear what your expectation is. In which case you can say that you've done your research and this is the range that you've seen and heard from colleagues and seen online for this position and your experience level. So you really want to be prepared for that question. You don't want to be like, oh, I don't know. So you really don't want to be this person. Listen, it's a lot about your personality. During this interview, they're trying to see how your personality is and if you mesh with the team. When they're already interviewing you, they've looked at your work beforehand and they've liked it. That's why they're interviewing you. They want to give you the job. They're not doing you some favor. They just want to see if you'll mesh with the team. And the thing is, they need junior animators. So most likely they'll need you more than you'll need them. And from our experience, most interviews in the animation industry, again, are very chill, less corporate, and not like corporate interviews where they're drilling you with questions. They're just trying to get to know you because they've already seen your work. With corporate jobs, you don't have a demo reel. With animation and artistic jobs, you have a portfolio and demo reel, so they already know your work. They just want to get to know you after the interview. You want to send a very nice thank you message right after the interview, thanking them for their time, for their consideration. Just end it in a nice little pleasant email. Now, if they don't get back to you in a week or so, then you can send them a follow-up email asking when you can expect an answer back, and again, say how you're interested you are and how excited you are for the position and for the opportunity. Now, this is not snaky, okay, but apply to multiple studios at the same time. Jobs are very hard to come by, especially right now with the economy and the strikes that's been happening. There's very little animation jobs compared to before. So you want to give yourself the absolute best chance of getting a job, so apply to multiple studios. Don't just apply to one, land an interview, and then wait to see if there is an answer. Apply to tens of studios, 100 if you can. That also puts you in the position of negotiation. You have some bargaining chips. If you have multiple interviews, all of a sudden you can say, oh, well, actually I have an interview at another studio right after this. Or when it comes to negotiation, you can say, oh, I actually have an offer for this amount. Can you match that? And so you get some negotiation power. They'll know you're in high demand, and it's almost like social proof. You get your own social proof where they're like, oh shoot, another studio wants this person, we better get them. Prepare accordingly, prepare your demo reel accordingly, your mental accordingly, and do not make these animation mistakes right here. Click on that video.